technically incorrect. And if technically correct is the best kind of correct, then
that's why
technically incorrect is the worst kind of incorrect.
Sometimes movies will like say that they were made like 5 years ago, but their release date from the release date because they were looking for a distributor. And that's, the film festivals is where a lot find their distributors, or some just go to die.
Well, to be fair, a lot of them deserve that fate.
Yeah, but some don't.
Yeah, I know. Welcome, everyone, to Streaming Screams. I am Glenn. I'm here with Jessica.
Hello.
And we are going to talk about some horror. Today, we are discussing In a Violent Nature. They call it a neo-slasher, which is a dumb name.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I rewatched the last drive-in episode on it, and Joe Bob was bitching about it the entire time.
Yeah.
He's just like, I don't know why they call it a neo-slasher. It's just a slasher.
Yeah.
They all have their gimmick. Like, just because this one has a new gimmick doesn't mean that it's a neo-slasher, because they're all new gimmicks when they have it.
Gimmick?
What was that?
What's its new gimmick?
Being from the, quote, point of view of the killer. Which,
it's not the first one.
Right. Also,
I guess it's the first to do it this specific way, but it's not the first one to be from the killer's point of view.
This movie gets this really weird reaction in that a lot of people think it's like really revolutionary for how it approaches the slasher, but a lot of people are like, kind of bitch that it is from the killer's point of view. But then
it doesn't commit.
Well, okay, we will get to that because that is true. It absolutely abandons the premise at a certain point in the movie. But
I also think in the middle.
Kind of. And I know the part you're talking about, and we'll talk about that. But a lot of people bitch about it being from the point of view of the killer, and then they're like, well, how come, the fucking thing happens and we're not just constantly watching it from the, from like the eyes of the killer the whole time, and it's over the shoulder, it's not the point of view.
Well, I think over the shoulder is fine.
I agree. But also, like, I think that people have narrowed their definition of point of view to a weird extent and sort of ruined the movie for themselves in a lot of cases.
Okay, well, I don't want to get on a tangent, but people do not know what point of view is, because that whole trend that was on TikTok that's like point of view when nobody knew what a point of view was, and they would just be them like talking at something, and I'm like, that's not your...
Right. It's supposed to be...
What?
Yeah, that's just you giving an opinion.
Yes!
That's not a POV. And furthermore, but even this, like, okay, if we're going to go by the strict definition of point of view, this isn't that. This is from the perspective of the killer. And every movie is made from the perspective of somebody.
Yeah.
It's the whole fucking thing why, like, some people think American Psycho goes off the rails near the end is because it's all from the point of view of Patrick Bateman, and he's breaking down.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're one of those people who's like, this was not actually from the point of view of the killer, you have already ruined the movie for yourself. So shut up.
Yeah.
I assume you're talking about the campfire scene?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that now, or should we just
No, we can wait till we get to it, but there's no kinda about it. It doesn't...
Well, I did develop a slightly different perspective on it, which I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I may not fully agree with you either, but we'll get to that. In a Violent Nature, released in 2024, written by Chris Nash, directed by Chris Nash. We've got Rye Barrett as Johnny, the undead killer who rises from the grave in search of a locket that has been stolen by some teens. And by teens, we're talking like slasher teens, so really probably college students.
Are they supposed to be teens?
I think they're it's college students.
I don't even think they're in their 20s, maybe 30.
I think they're basically supposed to be college students, but they've got like, the actors are probably in their mid-20s.
Young folk.
Young little shits. Mm-hmm. And oh my God, are they a bunch of little shits. Anyway, Rye Barrett is Johnny, the undead killer who rises from the grave in search of a locket that has been stolen by some young folk. He's basically the Jason of this movie, slowly moving forward with nothing on his mind except slaughter and getting back the totem that has been taken from his resting place. Andrea Pavlovich as Chris, our final girl and Troy's girlfriend. One thing that is making this section easier, these characters are all so fucking flat and don't fucking matter, so I don't have to describe shit for most of them. She is our final girl and Troy's girlfriend. She's kind of one of the least shitty out of these kids, but still not great. Cameron Love as Colt. Colt seems to have a thing for Chris, which draws ire from Troy. It sounds as though his dad recently died, and he's the troubled but reasonable male who dies near the end of every slasher right before the final girl gets away. We've got Reese Presley as a ranger who tries to help the kids, teens, young people, 20s. It's all the same fucking thing, just so I don't have to keep specifying this or hearing about it.
I said once.
I meant in the comments. But yes, you too. A ranger who tries to help the kids and knows about Johnny and what happened to him. It seems like his dad may have been involved in the prank that killed Johnny. Liam Leone as Troy, Chris's boyfriend. He seems to have a bit of contempt for Colt and is really annoying about it. We've got Charlotte Cregan as a... Is that right? Is that Cregan? Cregan?
I don't know. I didn't
Oh, yeah. I'll just take off my glasses and immediately look at text like an idiot. We've got Charlotte Cregan as Aurora. She wants to brang. She wants to brang. We've got Charlotte Cregan as Aurora. She wants to bang Brody, and oh my god, she is the most insufferable, obnoxious, annoying piece of shit. You just can't wait for her to die. Lee Rose Sebastianis as Brody, a chick who wants to bang Aurora.
Brody's an interesting name for a chick.
Yes, I was one. So the thought did cross my mind that maybe Brody was supposed to be a dude the whole time.
I don't know.
Well, because I've never heard of Brody. I've never heard Brody used as a woman's name, and the Brody in this movie pulls all of the like typical 80s movie bullshit tropes. Yeah. Trying to bang Aurora, the whole let's just go skinny dipping. There's no one for miles around. Blah 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 thing. Yeah. She's written very much like a typical slasher boy. Yeah.
I'm just like, there's guys named Shirley and Alicia, so Ashley, yeah.
I think Ashley was originally a dude's name.
It is.
Yeah, at some point it made like a conversion.
Yeah. Shirley is also a guy's name.
Was it really?
It's a Jewish name.
What you're telling me is that old airplane joke, "Don't call me Shirley," is anti-Semitic.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm kidding. Whether that joke stays in is going to require some thought. All right. Sam Ralston as Aaron. He mostly exists to give us the backstory on Johnny and kind of seems like on the likability scale, he seems like he's highest.
I don't think there's any distinguishability amongst any of these people, really.
The big difference with him is that he doesn't pull any shady shit he doesn't pull any dumb bullshit to try to bang anybody, and he doesn't outright bully anyone like literally everybody else. Except Alexander Oliver as Evan literally does not have a personality. I'm fairly certain he exists to be another body. I think he has one line. Maybe. I'm not honestly sure. We've got Timothy Paul McCarthy as Chuck. I am honestly not sure who Chuck was. I think it's another one of the kids. Maybe.
Why do you have his name in there?
There's only like 8 characters.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. So, he might be one of the kids. There's also a possibility that he is like the model in the pictures of Johnny's dad, but that's, so I don't know. Anyway, he's in there somehow. Chuck, get a better agent. Sorry, no, Timothy, get a better agent. We've got Lauren Marie Taylor as the woman. The weirdest, most out of place character in this whole fucking thing. I believe she was the final girl in Friday the 13th too.
Oh, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Or was it 1?
No, it was 2.
Okay.
I know it was 2. I just don't remember which character she is. She also, despite only being in the movie for like 5 minutes, has way more character than anybody else. She is caring and compassionate. Also the type to just sort of do what needs to be done. And that's kind of her whole character. Some college dudes are in a dilapidated fire tower discussing whether or not they want to take the gold locket that is hanging from a pipe. Eventually, they get ready to head out, and one of them snatches it up despite the objections of the others. After they leave, we wait, and finally, almost excruciatingly slowly, Johnny digs himself out of the ground. Someone has taken his locket, and now everyone must pay.
So I don't think this movie like drags as much as a lot of people do, but this scene does.
This scene takes forever.
You're just like, okay, we're just looking at this locket.
Well, eventually the camera pans down to the ground and we're just looking at dirt.
Yeah,
And
but
it's like 3 minutes of,
like, okay.
I swear to God, like 3-4 minutes of screen time just goes to watching this dirt mildly shuffle around a bit.
The walking scenes don't bother me, but this is like, all right.
Yeah. This is the only part of it's kind of a shame that this takes place right at the beginning, because this scene almost had me turn the movie off. And I'm glad I didn't. I quite like this movie.
Yeah, I knew you would.
What's that supposed to mean? Okay. Maybe it was because you were scratching your eye, but there was a tone in your voice that was kind of like, I knew you would.
I was just itching my eye.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I do quite like this movie, but it almost lost me at this scene. The walking doesn't bother me at all. I love movies with good atmosphere, and the walking scenes just, do exactly that. Provide a lot of atmosphere.
Yeah.
So he walks around through the forest a lot, and the majority of the movie is shown from kind of an over-the-shoulder Okay, you know what? After the first time I saw the movie, I wrote that, and having seen it a second time, I really disagree with that. I think that the amount of time we spend in the over-the-shoulder view of Johnny walking through the forest seems like a lot, because it's kind of something we actually have not seen a movie done this way before.
Yeah, it's kind of like a survival horror game.
Yeah. On second viewing, I realized that no, there is actually not that much time spent doing this. It's just a lot more than you're used to. But it's not like a half hour of the movie is just him tromping through the woods.
No, not at all.
But that's how a lot of people feel about it.
Yeah, but
No, go ahead.
no, I'm just
Let the people have it. Give the people what they want and tell them to fuck all the way off.
People have zero attention span anymore. Like, it's so annoying because I'm in a lot of like horror groups online, and all the time people are just like, people think like Hereditary is like really slow, and I was like, I would never even call that a slow-paced movie. Like, people, like, within 10 minutes, if there isn't like action, they're like, oh, this movie sucks. And I'm like, maybe get off your fucking phone and watch the movie. Like, I don't know, just
Yeah.
People really don't have attention spans, and it's like annoying. I even hate now, even with action. Well, okay, action movies can get away, but I don't think all movies need to like be having. It's like, oh my god, so much shit happening right now, ah! And then it's like half an hour in, and I'm like, I don't know who any of these people are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I totally agree. I have found that, weirdly enough, as I have gotten older, my tolerance for action has actually decreased.
Yeah.
Like, I get annoyed if there's too much action now.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's hear what the characters have to say. Let's get to know them a little bit.
I want to
Or
have
let's
a
just soak
reason
in-
why I care.
Yeah. Or let's just soak in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Get me, afraid the way they're afraid.
Like, people don't know what a slow burn movie is. You want to see a slow burn movie, which I'm sure we'll do at some point. Watch The Blackcoat's fucking Daughter. That is a slow burn fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like, barely anything happens in that movie, but it's good. It's very good. Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't.
It's very good, but that is a patience. Like, a lot of just hanging around in an empty school.
You know what? After watching and thoroughly enjoying Skinamarink, I am fairly certain I've come to the conclusion that I can tolerate any fucking nothing happening in a movie.
Yeah, that's really, really nothing happening in a movie. I'll say Blackcoat's Daughter has a fucking payoff. The ending is fucking great. I don't know if Skinamarink has a payoff.
You've watched it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
It was intense for like 20 minutes, and then I was like, ugh.
See, I found it very intense the whole time.
I still need to watch
but
the short of it.
Yeah. When we do that movie, which we absolutely should, we should do the short and that one at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah. So he walks through the forest a lot, and while he's doing his forest tromping, it's all shown from like an over the shoulder perspective of Johnny, as Jess said. It's very survival. It's like a survival horror camera view.
Like Resident Evil, Silent Hill.
Yeah. And it's probably worth noting at this point, there is no film score. Which in a way really bothers me.
It's intentional.
I know
obviously.
I know it's intentional. And
he said he like specifically, because music can really influence how you feel in a movie. and he didn't want music to influence anything. He wanted you just to naturally feel anything about each scene.
So, interestingly enough, I think that is a bullshit excuse, or a bullshit reasoning.
It is true. Music can like drastically change.
Sure, but you know what else can drastically change your feelings of a movie? The lighting, the action, the dialogue, what's happening.
But have you seen like
every single frame of a movie is manipulating the emotions of the audience.
But have you seen the thing of like a Mrs. Doubtfire trailer, but they put suspense music over it?
I haven't seen.
It's hilarious.
I haven't seen that, but I have seen The Shining as a romantic comedy, which was
But did they
very
edit
well
it?
done.
Because like this is just literally Mrs. Doubtfire with just suspense over it, and it does make it seem really fucking.
I believe the Shining trailer is just the original trailer with
It's very funny.
No, they did edit a new trailer, so it doesn't show like any of the violence. I don't think. Or it does.
I'm just saying that's a little different.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but either way, no, it totally does. But like everything in a movie is manipulating the audience.
Sure.
Where I will say that it works.
The loud footfalls in the forest is manipulating.
Yeah. Where I will say that it works, though, is I think that unintentionally, it's conceptually great for the movie because the characters in a movie are often feeling whatever they're feeling is kind of unconscious. You know, you always hear in these movies at some point somebody's like, I'm telling you something's not right here.
Yeah.
And for me, having the film score is giving you that same feeling, like something's not right here. The killer would not be hearing that music, or rather their emotions would not be reflecting that music. So for me, if you're going to make a movie where you're putting yourself in the head of a mindless killer, the lack of a film score makes total sense. I don't buy the whole thing about not wanting to manipulate the viewers, but accidentally, it still works out great.
Sure.
So through all of this, all you hear is the sounds of the forest and his big old boots clomping through the forest, which does bring up one question that I have. Why is he a giant fucking man? The legend is that he died as a kid.
Same as Jason.
Well, part 2 reveals that Jason didn't actually die. He just lived in the forest.
He's just been hanging out in the forest, even though his mom's alive, and he watched his mom die. So that means he just watched the whole thing and never went to his mom and went, hey, I'm alive.
Well, sure. But I'm just wondering, if this kid was put in the ground.
And some scrawny little fucking kid with mental issues is living in the forest by himself and was able to bulk.
No, absolutely. I'm not saying that's
He's
not...
like, I'm getting my proteins.
I'm not saying that's not ridiculous. I'm just saying, if Johnny died as a kid, why is he a giant hulking man?
Same thing. He grew in the ground. He grew up.
That's why it's called In a Violent Nature. He's a plant man.
Ooh.
No, I do think that there is... I was planning on mentioning this at the end, but I do think that at the end of the day, he is supposed to be representative of nature, and he's just kind of killing the interlopers. Because most of the time, there's two things that always catch his attention. Somebody saying shit about a dead dad. Mm-hmm. That is sure to get his attention.
Shiny.
What was that?
Shiny necklace.
That actually, that kind of goes along with his dead dad and his dead mom. But the other thing I was going to mention was anything that makes loud, unnatural noises in the forest. So engines, guns, things like that. That gets his attention.
He got distracted by a toy.
Yes, but that's because he's a kid
Yeah,
in a man's body. But what I'm saying is that the little toy isn't like an affront to nature. The guns being fired off randomly in the forest are like an affront to nature. The loud, obnoxious, car driving through the forest is an affront to nature. I think this is, again, not like my personal philosophy here. It's more just like I think that this is what he's supposed to represent. Because I think that the main message of the movie is just don't fuck with nature. And I think he's supposed to be the avenging force of it.
Or maybe just don't take things that don't belong to you.
I mean, there is that too.
If they didn't take the necklace, everything would have been all good.
Yeah. Like, I personally would have assumed that was like a memorial thing, Like, there's no reason for a nice gold locket to be just hanging out in, like, a burnt down or run down, like, fire tower.
Yeah.
That's got to be a fucking memorial thing, yeah? Don't fucking take the locket. As he's walking around, he is searching for his locket. He goes into a trapper's house and finds a necklace that he mistakes for the locket, which is kind of funny.
Well, this whole thing is funny because it's like the guy goes in the house, so he's like going around to get in the house, but then the guy goes out another door and then comes around the front
Yeah.
while he's in the house, and he looks outside seeing him there. So it's just funny because he's trying to get to the guy at first.
Yeah.
But they keep just missing each other. And then he sees the necklace and gets sidetracked.
Yeah. But yeah, so he grabs the necklace, thinking it's the locket, stops and remembers his dad for a minute. And then the trapper, comes, as Jess just mentioned, comes back in. And he's ready to shoot because he was just having an argument with, I think it was the sheriff or a deputy.
Something like that.
Something like that. And he's like, well, now I'm going to kill me a cop. But instead he sees Johnny, freaks out, runs away. Unfortunately for him, he gets his leg caught in one of his own traps and Johnny kills him.
Yeah.
I really like the transition that they do in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
You see the hand, Johnny's hand going towards the trapper's face.
Oh, yeah.
But before he actually touches it, it just hard cuts to the same shot of his hand, but covered in blood, reaching for the necklace.
Yeah.
It is so cool. I really did enjoy this movie. There were so many fun things like that.
Yeah.
So after stalking around the forest a little bit more, we see the friends are all sitting around a campfire when Johnny approaches. He stays just outside of their visible range and listens to the kids and their bullshit drama before Aaron decides to tell them about the local legend of Johnny's demise. Here's where we get his background. In life, Johnny was a developmentally delayed kid and the target of a lot of bullying from the locals. Some of the loggers who hated his dad tricked him into climbing a fire tower with the promise of a big bag of toys, but at the top, one of them was waiting to scare him, causing him to plunge to his death. When Johnny's father learns of what happened, he confronted the people responsible and was killed in a brawl. In the decades since, there's been 2 killing sprees that have been attributed to Johnny's vengeful spirit. So one thing that I will say about this, I really like that they took the Jason origin story and turned it from some like prudish bullshit about sex being evil and changed it into the tragic consequences of bullying.
Yeah.
I
don't think really Jason, at least, like it's not some prudish thing about sex being evil. It's just that they weren't paying fucking attention.
Sure, but like Mrs. Voorhees makes a huge deal out of that.
Yeah, but that's the mom being like some prudish bitch. I don't think the movie's trying to make a stance on teenagers having sex.
I don't know, man. Every time teenagers start banging in the original Friday the 13th movies, somebody gets killed. But point being, I like whether it's supposed to be a statement or not. I prefer the origin story being attributed to bullying instead of being attributed to horny teens doing what horny teens do.
So this is also where we have debate of, does it break away from his point of view, which it does.
So I actually don't think it does.
It's directly in their faces. It's like we're at the point of view of the fire.
Right.
Going around, not him.
Right. So, but again, most of the movie, none of the movie is actually shot from his point of view. It's all from his perspective.
But it's not his perspective. Is he the fire?
No. Your perspective doesn't necessarily have to mean like, directly seeing what you're seeing.
No, I know.
But he is watching them and he is listening to them. And we do see later in this scene, we see one of them, I think it's Troy. We see one of them put the locket in his pocket. And later on, after killing that guy, again, I believe it's Troy, we'll get there, we see like a flashback to the kid putting the locket in his pocket, and then we see Johnny searching that pocket. So Johnny did see all of this, and he was close enough to see what was going on.
Which isn't possible because you can see behind them.
Yeah, and when they take a selfie, they capture him in the photo. So, and remember, when you're sitting there around a fire, it's hard for you to see past the fire, but it's really easy for somebody who's far away to see you. So I think that this makes sense. I think it kind of violates things. I wish that we had stuck with Johnny and heard and saw it from his like over the shoulder perspective. I don't think this completely violates the spirit of the movie.
You're just trying to push it a narrative.
I'm not trying to push a narrative.
Yes, you are.
I've got no horse in this race. I didn't make the fucking movie. I'm not going to be going over to, I'm not afraid to criticize a movie when I don't like what it does. And believe me, I'm going to shit on this one at the third act. So anyway, in this scene, Troy is such a fucking dickhead.
Yeah.
And Troy, they're all dickheads. Troy, in my opinion, is actually, I don't know who's less likable, him or Aurora, but they're both pretty fucking unlikable. Aaron cracks a joke at him, which seems to offend him. So in turn, he tries to embarrass Colt in front of everybody, with a very thinly veiled implication that Colt has an unrequited attraction or even love for Chris. It's some real insecure fucking bullshit. He then also tries really hard to get Aaron to say the R word, knowing that Aurora is filming him, despite Aaron having clearly not been comfortable saying it in the first place.
Yeah.
And then also we get a lot here we get some of Aurora's nonsense too. Like, it's not as extreme. I'll fucking talk about this at the end. There's some shit with her. Like, she feels like never mind, I guess I'll just do it now. She feels like a caricature or a satire.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can't tell if the idea with her is that the filmmakers are trying to like make some kind of statement against, quote, wokeness, or if she is supposed to be like a satire of what conservatives think of as wokeness. Like, either way, she cannot be a fucking serious character. She's got to be a fucking statement about this one way or the other, but I can't tell which way because she's so cartoonish about it.
Yeah.
You would think that if this was if you were poking fun at her from like the conservative point of view, she wouldn't say something like cancel culture isn't real, because that's the whole conservative thing, like, oh, cancel culture's ruining everything.
Is she supposed to be one of those people, though, that, like, seems like they're just using wokeness as, like, virtue signaling? You know how, like, they're like, I'm better than you? Like, there are a lot of fucking, like, liberals and people that are all just, like, using it as, like, to show, like, look how good I am. You're not as good as me. Look at you didn't phrase that this exact way. Like, you're such a problem. You know what I mean?
I mean, which
just comes off so fucking fake.
Just so we are clear, we are more on the progressive side. Sure. We're not sitting here being like anti-wokeness. What we are just being like
people that are like
they're assholes in every group.
Yeah.
And that includes the group of people that agree with us or agree with you politically, as much as it.
But people just using it for their own virtue signaling. They're not.
Yeah, if people just want to lecture people and don't actually care about the feelings and
they're just trying to be like, look how good I am.
Yeah. It's less about social responsibility and more about ego pumping.
Yes.
Absolutely get that. So I don't know in which direction.
She's probably one of those people that's like, I'm a vegan and I'm yoga and you should all like be like that.
I mean, yeah, she does strike me that way. Yeah. But again, this
is why I'm so much better than you.
It's so cartoonishly.
Have you thought about clean living?
It's so cartoonishly stupid, though. But like I said, just the way it's done, I can't tell if the statement that they're obviously trying to make with her is against obnoxious liberals, against liberals as a whole, or if it's supposed to be like a cartoonish caricature of what conservatives think and poking fun at them. It could be any of them.
Yeah, but all slashers are like, they have characters that are just like large stereotypes that they're almost a parody.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out which way this parody is supposed to be going.
I don't think everything's always trying to like mean something or prove something. They're probably just like, oh,
Isn't that the point of satire, though?
What didn't say satire? I mean,
parody and satire.
I guess, but it could just be poking at these are like groups of people that are stereotypical nowadays. It's not making an opinion on it. It's just like
maybe
making fun of.
I don't know.
Stereotypes.
I feel like if you're going to make a character this insufferable and this cartoonish, you've got to be making a statement of some sort.
Maybe.
But that's just me. Maybe if I didn't want to, maybe if I just wanted to make a fun movie without statements, all my characters would be boring. Who knows? Anyway,
you could be right. I don't know.
yeah. And that's the thing. Like this, it's one of my complaints about this movie is I feel like it is going for something, but I don't know what it's going for. See, I can like a movie and complain about it. Later, in a cabin, Troy and Chris have an argument during which Troy's jealousy of Colt comes to the forefront. Aaron leaves the cabin, but Johnny kills him with a draw knife. There's more that happens here, but I do want to stop and just discuss, oh my God, what is wrong with these people? So, like, there's giving your friends shit. Mm-hmm. There's bullying, of which there's plenty in this movie.
Yeah.
The one statement that I do think this movie clearly makes is don't be a bully. It makes you a dick.
Yeah.
But even the like bullying in this scene does not make sense to me, because Aaron is coming out and according to him, he's just going to go take a shit, which sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Go take a shit, right? As isolated as this place is, an outhouse seems pretty likely.
Sure.
So he's probably going to the outhouse.
Don't they have a cabin though?
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there's, a toilet.
I guess, yeah.
But I don't know. That's just how I'm assuming this is going.
Yeah.
But the girl who's sitting outside, and this is the problem with these characters. I think it's Chris. I'm not sure. Maybe, you know what? I've rewatched this scene and the campfire scene like 3 times trying to make sure I could figure out which girl this was because they're so interchangeable. Oh, it might be Brody. But either way.
Well, because there's 2 dark hair girls and there's a blondish girl.
Right. So it's not the blonde girl. That's Aurora.
Yeah.
But I think this is Brody because I think she gets killed. Maybe. I don't know.
No, because she's sitting on Aurora later.
Right. No, I don't think she gets killed here. I think that she gets killed.
Yeah, anyway. She gets drowned, doesn't she?
Yeah. So she's given Aaron a ration of shit and talking about how she thinks he's sneaking away to go meet some girls that they met at a gas station. And it is the dumbest fucking bullying. And Troy comes out and joins her, and they're making fun of Aaron, and they're like, I'm just a little gas station girl. Fill me up, Aaron. And I'm like, first off, what is a little gas station girl? Like, does that make any what does that mean? Like somebody's a fucking like dumb porn stereotype because they needed to get gas?
Sure.
But also like how is Aaron going to go find these random people that he apparently met at a gas station earlier in the day?
Well, campsites usually, if there's a cabin in an outhouse, there's multiple campsites like around it.
What's he going to do? Go to the other campsites and yell, hey, gas station girl, I'm here to fill you up.
Yeah, walk around and see if you see them. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, then they're just like, fill me up, Aaron. Fill me up, Aaron. Fill me up, Aaron. And I'm like, look, man, first off, I'm just a little gas station girl. What? But second, the idea here is that you think he's going to sneak out and go get laid and you're making fun of him for it. I don't know. Personally, it's not my personal style to go randomly bang a few chicks that I saw at a gas station. But if he manages to pull that off, I'm going to give him a high five.
But maybe they just really were like, dude, I thought of this joke about filling her up because she works at the gas station. That's funny. So
maybe, but
they just had to have a reason to make fun of him.
I guess.
And use that joke.
I mean, it's such a dumb. It's just dumb. These characters, it's just a weird scene to me. All of these characters, this is absolutely one of these movies where the more time you spend with the characters, the more you just can't wait to see how he's going to kill them. Yeah, which is great. But yeah, just this scene cracks me up. And I actually find this scene really funny because it's so dumb.
Yeah.
They're just everything about them trying to bully Aaron about possibly going to get laid when all he's really trying to do is like have a smoke and take a shit.
Yeah.
Very funny to me. It just doesn't make sense. I'm just a little gas station girl. What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know. I feel like young people do make those stupid jokes.
I know.
I think there's a time in your life you would make that joke.
I don't think I would. I would absolutely make a joke in a similar spirit. I would make the joke make sense, though.
Yeah.
And I don't think I ever made fun of somebody for getting laid. That, I think, is by far the most baffling part.
Yeah.
The idea is that he's going to go bang some random chicks, fucking fist bump him on the way out. Go get him, Tiger.
Fill her up.
Yeah, fill her up.
Thanks for joining us here at the Streaming Screams podcast. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and YouTube at Streaming Screams Pod.
You can also find us on TikTok and Blue Sky at Screams Pod.
Every follow, like, thumb, rating, review, subscription, and share all help us out a lot with all the algorithm shit.
So if you like what we're doing, please rate us wherever you get your podcasts, like our posts, all that other good internet bullshit. And again, thank you for listening to
The Streaming Screams Podcast.
Yeah, he goes off and has himself a smoke and listening to his... Oh, this is the other thing. He's apparently got a tape player, and she's like, maybe you can show them your tape player and they'll think you're from the future. I'm like... I mean, I guess making fun of somebody for having a Walkman is a thing, but like, I don't know. It's just such dumb bullying. and I find this scene equally amusing and annoying.
Sure.
Which might be exactly what they were going for. So Johnny like basically chops off most of Aaron's head with a what was it called?
You said a draw knife?
Yeah.
What's a draw knife?
It's a firefighting tool, and I don't know the exact function of it, but it is a knife that has a handle on either end. So it's kind of like a saw more than a knife. At least I think. Maybe it's for sawing firewood. Oh, it might be for sawing firewood because he hasn't raided the ranger station yet. Yeah. So, yeah. Either way, yeah, but he takes off most of Aaron's head, and this effect is great. You cannot fault the kills in this movie. The kills are excellent.
Yeah, the kills are great.
The kills are fucking great. Blood burbling out of his throat, and I think his tongue is wagging.
Yeah.
It's so good. But yeah, so Johnny drags his body. And he's listening to his tape player, and this I think is a cool effect, is that Johnny starts dragging his body, and we go back to that over-the-shoulder thing, and as time jumps forward, the batteries on the Walkman are dying, so the music is getting slower. So Johnny breaks into the ranger station, sees a bunch of ancient fire gear, and smashes the display case with Aaron's corpse, which is also very funny. Yeah. Basically retrieves what is about to become his iconic slasher gear. An axe, a set of dragging hooks on a chain, and an antique firefighter mask. The mask is actually really cool.
It does look really cool.
It's fucking creepy as shit.
Yeah.
It gives him this weird bug-eyed look, even though you can't see his eyes at all, which is like the best of both worlds there. The axe is kind of a boring tool, but I really like using the draw hooks. Or not the draw hooks, the dragging hooks.
Yeah.
Those are cool, and I hope that I hope those become his signature weapon. We'll see in the second one.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that at the end. I don't think there should be a second one. They can't keep up the same premise. Don't make a second one. Just let this be a one-off.
I think if they do I think if they make it into a series, they should try to come up with a different gimmick for each one.
Yeah, we'll see. I just don't feel like this needs to be a series.
I don't think if it's going to be a takeoff on Friday the 13th, then of course it's got to be a series.
No, what we need is another Friday the 13th movie. There's 12 of those movies. We need fucking one more.
Was the remake number 12 or was it 13?
No, there is no 13. There's 12 movies.
Okay, all right.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sick of series just going on forever and ever, but that's one where I'm like, come on.
Do the obvious.
Make one more. You can't end at 12. You could have ended at 10, but you can't end at 12.
Yeah. So are we counting Freddy versus Jason in that?
I think so. I don't know. I'd have to go through them again, but everyone says there's 12 movies.
Okay. I never actually thought about it much. I was actually really surprised when I found out that Jason X was supposed to be the 10th one, and that's, I guess, where the X came from, was to call it number 10.
What the fuck? How did you...
Because it was made in the 90s, and it was Jason Goes to Space. We put X on everything in the fucking 90s. That's where I thought it came from. They
Name
were like,
another movie that has X. Exactly.
Well, no, I was going to go with the X-Files, but then every...
No, but that's not the same thing.
No.
There's not a title and an X on the end of movies.
No, I'm not... I don't mean like as a sequel
movies
number.
have been numbered.
No, I don't mean as a sequel number. I mean just as in the 90s, we had this weird thing about the letter X. You'd like put a little extra dust on your Cheetos and call it Extreme with a giant fucking X. You know, you have fucking Mega Man X. Why did we call him X? There's no fucking reason.
It was the 10th one.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't. It was like the 7th.
No.
There was a Mega Man 10 that came out years later.
Let me see.
Yeah, 6 was the last one that they did on the NES, and that came out around the same time as Mega Man X. X was the jump to the Super
Yeah, because
Nintendo.
this is actually considered, according to this, it's another series.
Yeah, it is. Mega Man X is a different character. The character is named X.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, I mean it's the same. You know, it's loosely. I mean, it's the same continuity, but boy, they really jumbled up the continuity in later games. So
Yeah. Oh well, who cares?
yeah, but my point is just that everything was called X in the late '90s and early thousands because of Extreme or whatever. So I just figured they were like, oh, we're sending Jason to space. It's like Jason Extreme, Jason X. And also nobody called it Jason 10. They called it Jason X. And it's not called Friday the 13th. Where were we?
Okay, you're right.
Well, I know. Well, say it louder and into the microphone.
Glenn was right.
Yeah, baby. All right. So the next day.
But they do say sometimes it is written as Mega Man X for 10.
But there is a Mega Man 10.
Yeah, but I don't know, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is like that, now they just like calling every new movie just the same thing as the first one. Halloween,
Yeah.
Scream.
Yeah.
We need to stop doing that, by the way.
I agree.
Because having to say Halloween 2018 is annoying.
Yeah, it's way more annoying than just saying like Halloween 9 or whatever it would. Well, I mean, I guess since it would just be Halloween 2, but
it could have been like
it could have just
Halloween,
had another title.
Michael Returns. I don't know. Something.
Except we already have the Return of Michael. Yeah, it
Okay,
doesn't matter.
whatever. I don't know. I'm not a studio executive. I don't make title things. I'm just saying, don't call it the same thing, especially when it's part of the series still.
Yeah,
Get out of here.
Yeah, no. Honestly, the one that really makes me more angry than Halloween is The Thing. Like,
Oh God.
Because it's like it's structured the same. It's almost a remake, but it is a prequel. But
Yeah.
they still just call it The Thing, which is followed by The Thing.
Some people think it is a remake because of that.
Right. I mean, it might as well be.
Yeah.
Even Evil Dead 2 was half remake, and they still had the good sense to put a 2 after it. Anyway, man, it's gonna be a wild. We chose this movie because it was gonna be like
Easier.
straightforward and easier, and not take a ton of time. Oopsie doodle. So, the next day, after some more walking, Johnny finds Brody hitting on Aurora over at the lake, kind of successfully, although Aurora is still a bitch about it.
Yeah.
Before banging, they need to warm up, so Brody stays in the lake for a swim, while Aurora goes to practice yoga on a cliff overlooking the valley. And again, I just have to say, the fuck is with this Aurora chick, man? She throws Brody's clothes into the water.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. That's something people do.
Yeah, but she was like, she's such a bitch about this too. She's like, obviously I want to sleep with you, but I don't like the way you asked, basically. So yeah, she's awful.
Yeah.
She's just an awful person. I would not deal with this girl in my friends group.
I don't know if that's true.
I wouldn't be nice to
Somebody in particular comes to mind.
her. Who? Okay. Well, good thing I'll get the second you said it, that bleep sound effect. Oh, shit. All right. Yeah, valid. Although at least has fun moments. Aurora does not. She is just awful through the whole thing.
It was one night.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess it could be a bad night. Well, I guess it is a bad night for all of them. Yeah, so Johnny slowly walks across the bottom of the lake.
I really like this.
And drowns Brody. I really like this.
Yeah, because it's a long shot again. He just walks into the water, and then it's a long shot of just like stillness. She's in the distance.
Yeah.
Swimming. And I kept looking, waiting for like bubbles or like a trail or something, but it's just nothing. But you know that he's just trudging along the bottom.
Yeah.
I really like
And
this
then it's
scene.
just like, no!
And then nothing.
Gone.
Yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, I thought this was a great kill. I thought it was really funny listening to Joe Bob talk about how he did not like this scene.
I love it.
Yeah, man. It's wild how
I love Joe Bob. He's not always right.
He is not always right, and he's very wrong about this one. But yeah, the subtlety of the movie really gets highlighted here. We don't have any struggle with her. As we talked about earlier, there's no like intense music.
It's also really true for drowning.
Yeah, which is really funny because this is the second like recording session in a row that we'll
mention.
we've talked about out this whole thing. Oh, actually, I'm gonna read you a part that I had covered up in my notes.
Oh, okay.
This ties in really well with the way we were talking about drowning regarding Lake Mungo. It's a very quiet, subtle way to die a lot of the time, and you don't get the kind of thrashing and noise that one might think.
It's true.
Yeah.
People drown right next to other people all the time.
Yeah, so he drowns her. He then finds Aurora, who thinks Brody is coming to, quote, stretch her out some more. I did like that line. Yeah. And here we get what I consider to be the centerpiece kill of the movie.
Yeah.
Or at least my favorite. One could make an argument for the Ranger later. But he shoves his hook through her stomach, plants the hook into her head, and then pulls her head through her own stomach.
Yeah, it's great.
He then pulls the chain out of her head and just sort of hucks her contorted body off of a cliff.
Yeet.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
This is my favorite kill that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, no, it's great. And it's pretty unique.
Yeah.
I'm guessing too because apparently they had to refilm like this entire movie almost.
Yeah.
Because the guy who played Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny,
okay.
The killer.
Yeah, I'm always bad at names. But Johnny, something happened to him medical wise. They didn't specify. Mm-hmm. And they thought they could just replace him, but they're like, since you're watching him walk so much, like there's just subtleties in people's like gait and everything. Even though he's trying to mimic the other guy's actions, they're like, it was just so obvious.
It's actually hard to mimic somebody else's shambling more than it is to mimic their walk.
Yeah, they got somebody like that was the same build and everything, but they're like, as they were like, they filmed it and then like edited it together, they're like, it's so blatantly obvious.
Nah, it's a bummer.
So they had to refilm the whole thing. They said the only shot with the original killer is the most expensive kill they did. Mm-hmm. He doesn't specify what it is, but I'm assuming it's this.
It's probably this.
Yeah.
You know what? It's funny that you mentioned that because I did notice that he has a specific body language in this that is unique to this scene, where the way he handles the hooks, there is an abruptness to the way he moves that is not apparent in other parts of the movie. So I think this was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting bit of trivia. I also kind of think that this scene is the filmmakers fucking with us. Mm-hmm. So there's one thing that, so basically they set up, and I'm just going to go ahead and embrace my sleazy maleness here.
Sure.
They set up the fact that these two girls are going to have some hot lesbian banging, going so far as to have one of them get naked in the lake, right? And you know this is going to be a good time because they need to get some exercise first. Like they got to warm up, get all limbered up, right? And then he just kills them both.
Yeah.
And not only do we not get that, but this is like an 80s style slasher with no tits. But we were teased with some sleazy exploitative lesbian action first and not a single boob in the movie.
Yeah, that's true. She does get stretched out.
Yeah, but still, not cool, guys. Not cool. Yeah, I get that this is a modern thing, but you know what?
A lot of horror fans complain that there's not enough boobs in horror movies anymore.
I agree.
Like when it's appropriate, you know, it doesn't have to be in everything. Because there are some movies where you're just like, you know, I like to see a boob just as much as the next guy, but there's sometimes where it has in older movies where you're like, okay,
yeah,
why is this person topless?
Did we need that random shower scene? No. But you know what? If you're going to be doing a movie that is based on like the slashers of the 80s,
yeah,
you should have a nude scene in it.
Yeah.
I'm a modern guy. I believe in equality. Throw a dick in there for the ladies and for all other dick lovers in the world. Even it out. We don't got to be sexist about it, but let's embrace some sleaze here.
Yeah. Full frontal for everyone.
Yes. Yes. That should be the new way of doing things. And if you're going to make a slasher, full frontal nudity all around, preferably with multiple characters on each side.
Yeah.
Great. But yeah, oh god, Aurora is just one of the most unlikable characters.
Well, she is at the bottom of a cliff.
I could not wait to see her die through the whole thing, and it was so fucking satisfying that she got such a good kill.
It also is funny her falling down the cliff. But it's like you see her bounce, hit like at a distance. It's so funny.
Her body is just like a ball bouncing down the cliff. Oh, it's great, and with no music or anything, it's just like clunk, 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 clunk. I will also say, like, I get the whole frozen in fear thing. Mm-hmm. She had a lot of room to run in either direction.
I don't know. There's a cliff right there.
I'm pretty sure you could run down that cliff, or at least
no.
It was not that steep.
No, dude, no, it's so... No, you could not run down that cliff.
Okay, maybe you couldn't
would
run
fall
down
and
that...
die anyway.
No, maybe you couldn't run down that cliff, but you could, like, you know, get on your butt and scoot down it.
No, I don't think so.
I mean...
I disagree.
I think you'd have an easier time getting down that cliff than he would, and I think it's doable. But he's got them, you know, he's got them big old logging boots. He's a big old dumb zombie. He's gonna eat shit. She could have, like, you know, climbed down a little ways, you know, scooted off to the lake. I don't know. Just do the butt scoot. Maybe stop yourself stop yourself on a tree and then come back up. I don't know. I'm just saying. But either way, cliff aside, she saw him from like 10, 20 feet away, and there's nothing on either side of her. Yeah. She could have 100% gone for a horizontal escape here. Just saying. Not only is Aurora awful, she's an idiot.
I've frozen in fear before.
No, I know. Just any reason to bag on her because she's such a just the fucking worst. She's so easily hateable. Yeah. So Troy, Colt, Chris, and Evan are having a standard argument about whether their friends are missing or not, even though they saw Johnny in the background of a selfie they took. Troy gets all pissed and fucking yeets the keys off into the forest like an idiot. Yeah. Johnny comes across them and sits down to play with the toy car that is attached to the keychain.
I think it's cute.
I think it's cute too. You know, I mean, except for his butt ugly face. Got no lips.
I know. Yeah. But it's a cute moment.
It is a cute moment.
And it shows that he's still a kid and gets distracted.
Yes. Well, I mean, he's definitely a big kid.
Yeah.
I think that's very clear. And I do like that what he's hearing them argue, and he doesn't really give a shit because he just wants to play with his toy car. Until Troy mentioned something about Colt's dead dad. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, you're going there? Well, now you're going to die. Yeah. He does have more. It is interesting because, you know, he has no dialogue whatsoever. Yeah. And a lot of what he's doing just seems automatic, but you do get a sense of who he is from these things about, like, the idea of ragging on somebody for, you know, losing their dad really fucking triggers him, and he's gonna fucking kill everybody because of this. Yeah. Also, he likes his cars, his toys. Colt and Chris find Johnny's axe just laying on the ground, and they hop onto an ATV and head off to the ranger station. At this point, we get this really awesome scene. This is also possibly my second favorite scene in the movie. Johnny, like, takes a log and he jams it into the car's horn.
Oh, yeah, I love this.
And then he just does a lap around the cabin so that when he comes back, we see Troy investigating. And it absolutely shows, because this is a trope we've seen a million times. Yeah. You get the thing with the horn, somebody investigates, and then suddenly the killer's there. Yeah. And this is the part where we really see a slasher from the killer's perspective. Yeah. So I love this.
And somebody sees him from the window, too.
Yes, Evan. Yeah. I believe. You can see Evan see him, but he comes around and he kills the shit out of Troy. Yeah, okay. So he's attacking Troy. Evan comes out and tries to shoot him. Johnny doesn't give a fuck. He kills the shit out of both of them. In the meantime, Colt and Chris find Aaron's body at the ranger station. I believe at this point Johnny shows up and causes them to flee. When do we find them actually talking to the ranger? Is it this scene or is it later?
No, because it's at night, isn't it?
Yeah.
When he does the horn thing, it's not at night.
Okay, yeah.
It's during the day.
So I guess it's a little bit later. So eventually Johnny catches up with them and they are talking to this ranger. The ranger is telling Chris and Colt that the locket keeps Johnny's spirit at rest. And at this point, Johnny attacks and paralyzes the ranger And then in the slowest and most excruciating scene of this movie, and frankly most movies, he drags the ranger over to a log splitter, slowly demonstrates how the log splitter works by making the ranger watch him cut a cord of wood with it.
Yeah.
And then he puts the ranger's arm in there and chops that off slowly. And the ranger, again, paralyzed, like completely. He can't even speak or yell.
Yeah.
And so he's just watching in horror. And then Johnny puts his head in there.
Yeah.
And man, this was, the hook kill was my favorite.
Yeah.
This was probably the most excruciating to watch.
It's brutal. The other one is brutal too, but it's such a hilarious. It's just so ridiculous.
The other one is cartoonishly
Yeah.
brutal. This one actually made me feel for the ranger.
Yeah.
So this one was an effective kill.
Yeah. He did kind of taunt him.
Well, I mean, he was, going to kill him. But
I know, but he was.
I mean, Johnny did kill his dad.
Yeah.
Here's the true message of the movie. It's a cycle of vengeance. It never ends.
No.
Dig 2 graves, etc., etc., etc. This scene was fucking great. So Colt and Chris have a plan to lure Johnny into the fire tower to kill him, but in another really solid scene, they really fuck with the old trope of getting the killer's attention, because usually you have somebody be like, "I'm over here, fucker," and then the killer chases them. In this one, he tries that, and Johnny immediately plants an axe square in the middle of his fucking face, and then keeps chopping and chopping and chopping. But yeah, after this, Chris leaves the locket on a gas can and runs away. And this, to me, is where they abandon, unfortunately, where they abandon the premise. Yeah. And unfortunately, which means this is also kind of where it falls apart, in my opinion. There's this really intense scene where we follow her as she runs through the forest with the sound of animals and all of that getting louder and louder. And we also hear what is possibly Johnny grunting and stomping along behind her.
Yeah. I think it's just supposed to show how isolated.
Right. And I don't think it's supposed to be him particularly. I think I think at this point we're just hearing her fears. But yeah. As the sounds of the forest get really loud, we smash cut to her laying on the ground, having tripped and injured her leg. Injured and in shock, she makes her way down to the road where she is picked up by the woman in a truck who takes her to the hospital. And then we have this strange scene here where the woman gives this really long story, where this woman tells her this really long story about her brother surviving a bear attack, apparently in an attempt to like comfort Chris and keep her awake. Yeah. For me, this always reminds me of the end of No Country for Old Men, where Tommy Lee Jones's character just sits down and spends like 4 minutes telling his wife about this dream that he had. Yeah. And it's kind of hard to figure out how it relates to the rest of the movie, although thematically it does seem to. Similarly here, doesn't seem to fit in a lot of ways.
Pineapple Express also has an ending that's like that.
Does it?
Yeah, they end up just like, they're sitting at like a diner or something at the end and just like have a 20-minute conversation. You're just like, what the fuck?
Wild. I've only seen that movie once, but of course Katie showed it to me. So by the end, I really wish you had made sound there to go with that look on your face. So Katie showed it to me. So by the end, I was pretty goddamn baked. Yeah. Despite protests, the woman stops the truck to put a tourniquet around Chris's leg because Chris keeps passing out. Chris is terrified and watches the woods waiting for Johnny to appear, but he never does. Elsewhere, though, we see the gas canister is now missing the locket. Yep.
That's all I wanted, man.
Yeah, it is all he wanted. And it's interesting though, because like we have gone through this whole movie that is just like this weird homage to 80s slashers with kind of an attempt to turn them on their heads. Yeah. But then at the end, suddenly it turns into this drama about PTSD. Yeah. It's an odd turn, and I don't dislike it. Yeah. But I will say, like, absolutely, by this point, the premise of the movie has been completely abandoned. Yeah. And I don't know if I just hate that conceptually or if it actually doesn't work for the film.
I don't like it. As far as I've heard most people talk about it, they don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either. Yeah.
I also, unrelated to that, but since it seems like this town, because like the sheriff seemed to know, like they actually know about the locket and stuff, why don't they just put like a cement shack over the burnt down fire tower so that nobody can fuck with the locket?
Because problem shut solved. Up. That's why.
I'm just saying.
Do you want a movie or not?
This seems like an easy problem to solve. Like, unlike like Jason and like other stuff.
Don't
This
come in
seems
here.
like there's like a clear way to fix this.
Don't come in here talking about your like normal human logic in a fucking 80s slasher throwback. If they did that, we wouldn't have a movie. Yeah. No, there's tons of plot holes in this movie. I'm not going to pick all of them out.
And again, I don't think they need a second one. I just don't think see how they're going to keep it interesting because they can't do the same thing.
No, and that's why I think they should do a different gimmick.
But then is it just going to be turning in a series of gimmicks?
Probably.
That's not fun. That's not interesting.
I mean, it could be fun.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see.
I'm not saying that I'm excited for the second one. I'm really not. I'll watch it. I think they got close enough to achieving what they wanted to do with this one that I am willing to give another shot to them and see where they go with it. I'm not excited about it. I'm not going to be all like, oh, sweet, the new In a Violent Nature's coming out.
Yeah.
But
I think you will be.
Not really.
No, you got once it's announced. We don't know when it's going to come out.
Well, I mean, the release date hasn't come out. It has been announced, though.
No. I know it's been announced, but it hasn't been made. I
Right.
meant the release date hasn't been announced. I know it's officially being made.
It is not. So conceptually speaking, I don't think I'll be excited about it. Mm-hmm. I am not saying that the trailers won't get me excited about it. That's very possible.
Yeah.
But I also may not watch the trailers because I already know I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of trailers, especially now.
No, everybody fucking botches it with their trailers. They're
just
like, hey, you want the whole movie?
No, trailers nowadays, yeah, it's either they show you the whole movie or it's like it comes at night where they totally deceive you what the movie's about.
I don't remember the It Comes at Night trailer.
They made it seem like it was like a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, I also don't think I've watched the movie, so it doesn't matter. Oh, is that on the list now?
Well, I really like it, but most people don't. But again, it's because they were expecting a completely different movie.
Yeah.
There's often where movies are false advertising. And then they get bad reviews, and it's like, it's not a bad movie, but you made people think they were going to go see something else.
Yeah. So just before we totally move away with this whole thing of abandoning the premise at the end of the movie, this is actually the same complaint that I have, AI usage notwithstanding. This is the same complaint that I have about Late Night with the Devil, is that at the end, they completely abandon the premise.
At the end, I mean, that one I would argue they never followed the premise.
Well, that's true. With all the behind the scenes stuff,
yeah,
they've already abandoned it.
I don't like the behind the scenes stuff.
I don't either. I don't think they should.
It's like, where's this camera and these? What are they all mic'd up? And especially with the technology, then like I don't know. I don't think they. But yeah, they don't stick that one. They don't stick to it at all.
Right.
But yeah, especially at the end, it's just like, why would we see this? We should see him just sitting there.
Yeah. like they're
I understand why they do it, but it doesn't make sense in the context that they're like, this is the unedited footage.
Right. So like, okay, I think that the behind the scenes stuff is contrived but plausible. Suddenly we're seeing his.
I think it's more plausible now, but not for the time period.
True, but it's still again just it's plausible.
Yeah.
Seeing everything that's going on in his head, seeing the demon stuff going on with him. That absolutely not. That's not plausible. You can't tell me that was all caught on film, and if it was, it should all have just happened from one single angle the whole time. Yeah, look, if
anything, they could have started the second movie with this and just continued it.
Oh, with the woman in the truck? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what? That would have been actually fine. If they had ended it, if she had gotten picked up in the truck, and then we see that the necklace is gone, and they cut to black, and then pick up with her and the woman talking in the truck.
Yeah,
great. You know what? That would have been a perfect beginning because you would have broken away from the idea that the series is taking place from the killer's point of view.
Yeah,
you can move right on to the new format, and it would make perfect sense.
Yeah,
that is a good idea. They should have done that. Oops.
Yeah.
And I think
it's one of those things where they don't know how to end it.
Yeah.
But they could have just had her put the thing on there and run away.
That would have been a great ending.
And then just watch him go back into the dirt.
Right. And that was actually how I think it should have ended. I think that we should have seen him pick up the locket and then just, sink back into the dirt, or even just walk back to the dirt and then smash cut, locket's back on the pipe, dirt is flat.
Yeah.
Great. But I mean, I get it. They wanted this cameo from, one of the main characters from one of the original,
Could have been the Ranger.
Could have been, but
I'm just saying there's other ways to do it.
No, I agree with you. I think they should have cut there and then picked up with that scene where with the second movie, and then you can launch either the sequel without a gimmick or the new gimmick or whatever they're going to do.
It could have been time passes from her running in the woods from when Johnny got it, and then the person in the car was like, "Look what I found."
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we can get in A Violent Nature 2, Johnny takes some bumfuck small town in Ontario.
Yeah.
I guess we can move to Manhattan by the third one.
Or it could just be Johnny takes Ontario.
Yeah. I think
Antwerp.
Vancouver. Vancouver would be a better one, or maybe Seattle, because I know that they filmed it in Canada. I think it's supposed to take place in the U.S.
Oh, I don't know if they did they say.
I don't honestly. Actually, maybe it doesn't even matter. It's probably just flat out the Pacific Northwest.
Sure. Johnny takes Portland.
Yeah, there we go. I think Seattle would be more interesting because Portland doesn't have that city feel to it that like Seattle kind of does.
Never been to either.
When you go to Portland, it just looks like this area.
Lame.
Seattle at least looks like
A city.
Parts of San Francisco and parts of Oakland.
Okay.
So yeah. Who would you recommend this movie for?
If you're a longtime fan of slashers, I think you should see it because it is a somewhat different take. And then if you have tolerance for something a little artsy and a little different, I wouldn't call this an art film, but the way they do it is it has an art lean to it.
It is creative.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really easy to get bogged down. I think it's really easy when you're talking about this movie to get bogged down in the things that are annoying.
Yeah.
Because a lot of what really works in this movie is a few kills, the atmosphere, and the whole thing where the story is kind of told off screen.
Yeah.
And you're just hearing what's being said from Johnny's perspective. I think this is a great movie. Yeah. I really loved it. It just sucks because in my opinion, when you talk about this, it's hard to talk about the things that you love about it. Real easy to talk about the things that you don't like.
Yeah.
So there's a very good chance that you made it up to this point thinking that we didn't like the movie. But no, it's great. And I recommend it for anybody who enjoys slashers.
Yeah.
100%. If you like 80s style horror, if you like slashers, you'll enjoy it. And you just have to have, as Jess said, a little bit of tolerance for people doing things somewhat differently.
Yeah.
Because I will also hand it to them. Even though I don't like that they abandoned the premise, they did do something different with it. It has its own unique feel, which every good slasher or every good slasher series should have its own unique gimmick and feel. Yeah. Good job to them. You know what? Now that I've said that, I am looking forward to the second one.
I knew it.
Shut up, Jessica. I was right about Mega Man. And on that note, you can stream In a Violent Nature for free with a subscription to Shudder, AMC Plus, Hulu, or Philo. You can rent or buy it on Amazon, Apple TV, Fandango, Plex, Microsoft, YouTube, and Google. Good stuff. Jessica, play us out.
Walking in the woods, I'm just a walking in the woods. Oh, there's some teenagers, they took my locket, now they must die.
Oh, damn it.
Sorry.
That's okay.